She was the most beautiful girl in the crowd. Everything around her paled in comparison. A boy was instantly captivated by her at first glance, only snapping out of his daze when his friend called her. Mike knew this heart-fluttering feeling was a first for him. But looking at herself, her inferiority complex resurfaced. She hesitated for a long time, her feet rooted to the spot, unable to bring herself to approach and speak. On the way back, their car was stuck in traffic because it had broken down. On the road, Mike politely gestured to the cars behind him. But his politeness was not appreciated by these rich kids. Instead, they mocked him for driving a lousy car. Jody couldn't bear her friend's ridicule, so she got out of her car and helped Mike push the car to the side of the road. Compared to those rich kids, Jody preferred boys like Mike. She had wanted to interact with Mike more, but unexpectedly, the taciturn Mike took the initiative to let her leave. "Sorry, you don't need to worry." Although Mike didn't understand his feelings, he was more interested in the boy in front of him. To become friends with Mike, Jody deliberately wrecked his car to get his help. Mike immediately saw through his act, but he didn't expose him. The car was fixed in no time. To express his gratitude, Jody asked him out on a date. "I'll be at Saturday night at 6 Squares? Saturday night?" The last line appears to be a separate, unrelated question/statement. On the way, Mike was very happy. He knew his love was about to arrive. But as soon as he got home, his father made him go with him to deliver goods the next day. Tomorrow was his date with Jody, so he refused. Unexpectedly, his father slapped him without a word. Those around were used to this scene. His father had been extremely cruel to Mike since childhood, which was the main reason for his deep-seated inferiority complex. But this time, he chose to rebel because he didn't want to end. Giving up his own happiness, he chose to run away from home, wanting to gain his own freedom. When he had nowhere to go, he sneaked into a carport to take shelter from the heavy rain. The next day, as soon as he woke up, the landlord mistook him for a thief. After Mike told the kind old man about his ordeal, the old man decided to take him in. The appointed time for their date arrived, but Jody didn't see Mike. After waiting for a long time, he realized he had been stood up. After asking his friends, he found Mike. To hide his injuries from Jody, Mike could only conceal them by lowering his head and using the dim light. Jody asked him why he had broken his promise, but he remained silent, offering no explanation. Jody angrily turned and left, but he was still unwilling to give up. He shouted, "Sir Dawson may be going around and on the other side." Mike remained silent. Disappointed, Jody had no choice but to leave. Mike knew Jody was serious. He chose to chase after him. Unexpectedly, Jody also happened to return. Seeing the injury on Mike's face, Jody's earlier questions were answered. They went to a secluded place and talked about everything about themselves, from the past to the present, and from the present to the future. Although this kind of date wasn't romantic, both of them opened their hearts to each other. When they returned, Jody looked at Mike with deep affection, her eyes seemingly filled with love. Mike wouldn't say anything. Instead of sweet words, he used a flower to express all his feelings. Jody didn't hear any confession, but he truly felt Mike's love. He kissed Mike, and the two confirmed their love. Their love was simple, but simple love can still be very happy. The sudden appearance of his father shattered all the beauty. After seeing his father, Mike pulled Jody away, telling him to go first. He didn't want Jody to see what happened next. The man immediately beat Mike up. He knew his son had run away from home because he was dating a rich girl. "Let me ask you something," he said. "Do you really think that girl has anything to do with him?" An old man appeared and rescued Mike. He knew Mike's father was a notorious local thug. The father wasn't afraid of the old man at all, but the old man fired shot after shot at his car. Seeing this, Mike's father had no choice but to leave. That night, Jody couldn't sleep. He was very worried that Mike would be beaten by his father. Jody suddenly heard a sound outside the window. It was Mike, coming to say goodbye. Jody wanted him to come inside, but he knew he couldn't. Jody simply climbed out the window and took a shower with him. Mike knew that everything that had happened today would definitely worry him greatly, and he also knew that such things might happen again in the future. So he wanted Jody to leave him. He didn't want to be a burden to Jody. Jody, I don't want you to get hurt. I won't get hurt. I don't care if I get hurt in a long time. I don't care. Seeing Jody McConnell's unwavering determination makes me feel incredibly happy. With the protection of his parents, McConnell lives a rare and stable life. Jody has become the sunshine in his life, giving him a warmth he has never experienced before. They live a world of just the two of them, and they live the happy life they've always dreamed of. But their love doesn't receive the support of McConnell's father, nor does it receive the recognition of Jody's father. On his birthday, Jody's father invited Mike to see his fancy cars. Every car there was Mike's dream, a dream he could never have. Jody's father knew of his poor background and bluntly told Mike, "This is my son. I only want the best for my daughter. I can't let her live anywhere near your house. It can't end there. No matter what, I don't want your money." "What? I don't want your money? Think about it." He angrily left. Jody knew it must be because his father had argued with him. Jody went to the place where they had their first date, and Mike was there, as expected. He didn't say much. He only hoped Mike could believe him, believe he could disregard everything. Their love didn't stop because of other people's obstacles. Other people's obstacles only made them cherish each other more. On the day his best friend got married, Mike was his best man. The elders even thoughtfully prepared a corsage for Mike. But the corsage fell into the old man's arms. Just as the old man was about to return it to him, Mike's father suddenly attacked them. They had come to avenge what had happened before. They had even personally destroyed the old man's most cherished garden. Mike realized he hadn't brought the stabbing flower and rushed back, only to find the old man lying on the ground, barely alive. He knew that his father must have done it all. Blinded by rage, Mike grabbed a gun and went back to avenge his father. He pointed the gun at his father, but his father... The old man remained calm and collected. He knew Mike's personality, and that Mike wouldn't dare to shoot. Enraged, Mike punched him in the face. The two began to wrestle on the ground. During the fight, they struggled for the gun on the ground, accidentally hitting a friend standing nearby. Today was supposed to be his wedding day, but now it had turned into a tragedy. Mike was sentenced to 8 years for accidental murder, and he also reported himself. Mike's vicious father also received his due punishment. Even after Mike went to prison, Jody remained steadfast in her love for him. She firmly told Mike this, but Mike didn't want her to. He didn't want to hinder Jody's future. He told Jody not to come again, and that he would never see her again. After saying this, he left without looking back, unmoved by Jody's calls. Later, Jody still didn't give up, but Mike, just as he said, never appeared before Jody again. After his father's repeated urging, he chose to get married and had a child. 20 years later, Mike was still single. He always dreamed of a girl he loved. They were never supposed to cross paths until after his father's death. They met again in this garden, filled with happy memories. The lover he had once longed for was right before his eyes, but now, they were no longer lovers. Having not seen each other for so long, they did nothing. Only, the story begins with Jody reminiscing about happy memories of the past. Later, Jody returns to her family, while Mike lives a peaceful life in the old man's house. However, to his surprise, his wicked father finds him again. He is shot and falls unconscious. As he lies unconscious, Jody's image reappears in his mind. At this time, Jody is extremely anxious because her son has been in a car accident. Her son urgently needs a heart for surgery. Just as Jody is in despair, Suddenly, someone announced that someone was willing to donate their heart. Jody's son survived, but he then learned that Mike had passed away. Before he could even rejoice, Jody was plunged into immense grief. Later, her son finally learned about the heart donor. He told Jody that the kind person's name was Mike. Upon hearing this, Jody suddenly understood. Only then did she realize that Mike had saved her son. Jody returned to... Suddenly, someone announced that someone was willing to donate their heart. Jody's son finally learned about the heart donor. He told Jody that the kind person's name was Mike. Upon hearing this, Jody suddenly understood. Only then did she realize that Mike had saved her son.